What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the decanting course. I'm glad to have you all here. Really appreciate you buying this course and supporting me, but I'm also excited to be able to help you out so that way you can get started as quickly as possible, start decanting all the fragrances that you have, start making some of that money back so that you can invest it back into buying more bottles and growing your collection and building a collection that you're really proud of without having to pay out of pocket. So my goal with this is not to waste too much of your time. I don't want to ramble on anymore. So let's go and jump right into it. This is part one, and I'm going to be going over the basics. So first, let's talk about the supplies. I'm going to list everything that you need, and of course, I'm going to provide links to all of these. I buy everything off of Amazon. The reason why is because of the 2-day shipping with Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I highly recommend you get it if you are going to be doing this, because being able to get more bottles and just more supplies in 2 days is something that's really important for me. If, for example, if I get a big order that I wasn't expecting and I need to get more bottles, being able to get stuff in 2 days and sometimes even 1 day is extremely helpful. So I do highly recommend that you sign up for Amazon Prime so that way you can get all this stuff quickly. I'll have a link to where you can get a free trial of Prime if you want. And of course, links to all the products, exactly everything I use, I'll have it in the course as well. So I personally use the Elphinstall bottles. I don't know if that's focusing. You probably can't see it, but it says Elphinstall. And again, I'm going to have the exact links. So right here, I got the 5 ml bottles. They are this size right here. It's a pretty common size. I've got the Elphinstall 2 ml bottles. They come in a little bit of a smaller box. Open this up. These are all bubble wrapped, by the way. They are this size. And what I like about using the 2 ml bottles is because I personally like to sell 1 ml and 2 ml samples as well. So for the 1 ml samples, I will just fill these up just with 1 ml. So it'll be about halfway. Again, I use a syringe so to get it exact, which I'll talk about later. But I do like using these for the 1 ml samples. The reason why is because I don't like using dabbers. So that way when people do buy the 1 milliliter samples, they're getting a sprayer. They can actually atomize the fragrance instead of having to mess around with a dabber. That can just be difficult and no one really likes doing that. And then of course I have the 10 ml bottles. These are actually not the Elphinstall bottles. These are something a little bit different. And again, I'm going to have this link down below. I actually haven't opened these up yet, so I do recommend that you get some sort of knife just to make opening stuff easy, because again, if you're going to be doing a lot of decanting and buying, you're probably also going to be opening up a lot of packages as well when you get fragrances in the mail. So because of that, you're going to want to have a nice knife or something to cut into packages instead of having to use your scissors. Here is what these look like when you open them up. What I like about these is the fact that they have a gold cap. So these are really, really nice. The cap slides off like that. The atomizers on these are great as well. These are my favorite 10 mLs, and again, I'll have the exact link down in the course. You can get gold and you can get silver as well. So I'm a huge fan of these. Really like these 10 ml samples a lot. So up next, of course, you'll need syringes. I use the Easy Glide Lure Lock syringes. These ones are the 3 ml syringes right here. So I'll link to these, and I'll also link to the 10 ml syringes. Those are nice because, of course, they're a lot bigger. So if you're doing 10 ml decants, 5 ml decants, you can pull it up to the exact amount, and you don't have to, go 3, fill this up all the way, and then do another 3. So the 10 ml ones are definitely a lot quicker. But these are the 3 ml ones that I've always been using. They just work great for me anyway. But the 10 ml ones also are a better option, and they're going to be a lot quicker. Now, one thing you would also consider getting are funnels. So these you could use if you aren't going to use the syringe method, or if you have a bottle where the syringes won't fit over the top of the bottle. In that case, that's when you will want to use these funnels and just use the method where you would just put the funnel inside of your decant bottle and just spray the fragrance in. And of course, I'm going to go in depth in all these different methods coming up next, but I just want to quickly go over the supplies. So funnels is another thing you'll want to pick up. You can get these small ones for really cheap. Again, of course, I'm going to have a link, and they are great to have. They're great to just have around because I do use them quite often. Almost done with the supplies, guys. Up next, we have a label maker. So this right here is a Brother label maker. I got this thing for like 20 bucks off of Amazon, and it's fantastic. It works great. This thing works fantastic. Like I said, it takes, I think, AAA batteries, AA batteries. and it just works fantastic. I used to use, sticker write-on labels when I first started out, and that's a great way you can go. Personally, though, I recommend that you just go ahead, bite the bullet, spend the $20 or so on getting an actual label maker. It'll pay for itself quickly. It's a good investment to, get into right away, and it's going to make your decants look a lot more professional. And of course, to go along with that, you'll want to get extra labels as well. So this label maker comes with like a sample deck inside of it. It's not a full deck of labels like this one has. It just had a little bit. It's enough to get you started, but I would just go ahead and order, a pack of extra labels as well to have with you so you don't run out when you're decanting. And you're also going to need Teflon tape or plumber's tape. This is what you use to seal the threads around the decants. That helps prevent it from leaking. It helps prevent any sort of evaporation. It also just helps to create an overall better seal. It gives the threads a little bit more of something to bite onto. Sometimes with these decants, depending on which ones, the plastic ones, sometimes the threads can be a little bit iffy. And putting the Teflon tape around the threads really helps to, like I said, give it something to bite onto. And then of course it helps with the leaking, it helps prevent evaporation and things like that. So the Teflon tape is definitely a must. Again, I get that off of Amazon as well. You can get this, 5-pack for I think like $5. Again, of course, all these are going to be linked in the course. You can check out and get exactly what I'm getting, but definitely good stuff here, and it's a must-have. Next up, we have the bubble mailers. So this is what I use. These are 4x7 white bubble mailers. They come in a pack of 50. This is not 50 right here because I have used quite a bit of them. But again, of course, I get these off Amazon with the 2-day shipping. It's a must-have. So these are great. You can get different colors. I was using the black ones for a while, then I switched up to using this white color. They have like gold, and like they just have a whole bunch of different ones. Personally, though, I like using the 4x7 size. These just work great for me. Next up, you're going to need some sort of packing tape for when you're actually, packing these up to go out. So I just have, this 6-pack of packing tape right here. Again, where I got it from, Amazon. And then also this tape gun or something like that. This isn't required. I mean, you can get away with just, cutting the tape or doing whatever, but I do highly recommend at some point you pick up one of these tape guns. Just makes it a whole lot easier, but packing tape is definitely a must. And the last thing that you're going to need are these USPS bubble mailers. So you aren't going to be shipping in these, and the reason why is because these are flat rate padded envelopes. So the price to ship for these will be around $7. So obviously that's very expensive, and this is great for when you're shipping full bottles. So I use these when I ship full bottles. But the reason why you'll want these for selling decants is you can actually get these off of USPS's website for completely free. It's 100% free. You can buy a huge box of them. I'm not going to pick up the box because it's not even going to fit in the frame because it's a big box of them. But I order these in bulk, and like I said, it's 100% free. So you don't have to pay for shipping or for these. So you just go on USPS website and you get these, and like I said, 100% free, and they will deliver them to your door. So the reason why this is so nice is I use this as bubble wrap. So here I have one that I cut up with some scissors. You can see it's cut in half, and then I just use it as bubble wrap. I wrap each individual decant in this, and then I put it into the bubble mailers that I showed you earlier, these small ones right here, and then I ship it. And of course, I'm going to go over this in detail in the actual shipping portion of the course, but just to kind of give you an idea, this is what I use for bubble wrap, and it's nice because it's completely free. You can order as much of it as you want off of USPS website. They'll deliver it right to you, and it doesn't usually take that long, maybe 2 or 3 days sometimes for me. Like I said, it's 100% free, so that's a great way. It's nice that you don't have to pay for bubble wrap, so you'll definitely want to stock up on this stuff. So the last thing that you'll want to look into getting, and this one is optional, and that is a digital scale. So I got this Accutech digital scale. You can have batteries in it, but it also plugs in, which is really nice. And it's just a regular postage scale. And the reason why this is nice is because when you're shipping larger orders, you will want to have something like this to where you can measure the weight to get the postage price. So anything under 4 ounces is going to be, the same price. Once you get above 4 ounces, that's when the weight is going to start affecting the shipping cost. But aside from the zone shipping for first class, Everything under 4 ounces is the same. So in pretty much 99.9% of the time, I don't even have to use the scale, because when I'm shipping decants, I know it's going to be under 4 ounces, so I don't have to worry about it. But that is going to be for those cases where you may have a larger order and the package is going to weigh more. In that case, that's when you will need to use the scale, but you generally aren't going to need to. I still do recommend that you get it though, because there were times where I didn't have that scale. I would get big orders and I would basically have to guess. And sometimes I would get it, and sometimes I would end up owing USPS money, and they'd write a little thing, put it in my mailbox and say I owe them this much for shipping, and then I know that I missed on that. So like I said, you're probably going to want to get the scale at some point, just so you're not, owing them money. It's not a huge deal, but it is kind of annoying. So a scale, like I said, it's not fully a must-have, but eventually you are going to want to get one. So that's just something to keep in mind. And again, I got that off of Amazon. It wasn't that expensive at all, and you're going to find a link to it in the course. So guys, that is the supplies that you will need to start your decanting. We're going to go ahead and move into the second part of this first video, the basics, and I'm going to talk about how you price your decants. Okay guys, so let's go and talk about how you want to price your decants. So this part is really important, and this is what throws a lot of people off. So make sure you study this part multiple times, or maybe take notes or something like that. Of course, you can watch this over and over again anyway, but this is something you really want to get right so you don't end up losing money like I did when I first started out. So when it comes to pricing your decants, what it comes down to is finding the price per milliliter of your fragrance. So the way you find the price per milliliter is you take the total amount that you paid for the fragrance. So that includes shipping, and that includes the actual price of the fragrance itself. That includes tax, if you had to pay tax, if you're buying from, some of the like Neiman Marcus and websites like that, Saks Fifth Avenue. When you order from them, sometimes they will charge you tax. At least they have me in the past. So you will have to include that as well. So you take the total price, shipping, tax, the actual fragrance, and you divide it by how many milliliters the fragrance is. So let's just use, for this example, again, Dolce & Gabbana The One Eau de Parfum. Let's say that in total I paid $50. So $50, that's shipped to my door, that's with tax. There wasn't tax, but let's just say if there was, $50 is what left my pocket in order to buy Dolce & Gabbana The One. And again, this is a 100 ml bottle. Let's pretend it was full. I know it's not full, but for the sake of it, let's pretend this is a brand new Dolce & Gabbana The One 100 ml bottle that I got for $50. So in order to find the price per mil, what I'm going to do is take that $50 and divide it by 100 mil. So I'm just going to show you on here. We've got $50 divided by the 100 ml bottle. And then you see you get, hopefully you can see it, 0.5. So this is going to be 50 cents per milliliter. So that's our price per mil, is 50 cents per milliliter. So now in order to find your prices, what you do is you take that 0.5 and you multiply it by, let's just say, let's start out with 5 mils. So you do 0.5 times 5, and then you see you get 2.5. So 5 milliliters of this fragrance will cost you $2.50 at the price per mil. Okay, and now that's great, but obviously you would be losing money if you were to charge people $2.50 for 5 milliliters of fragrance, right? That just doesn't work. So the really important thing right now is you never want to split at the price per mil. So right now, like I said, 2.5 is our price per mil. You never want to split at that. Obviously, $2.50, that's nothing, so that may seem obvious to you, but if you were, say, splitting a more expensive fragrance where at the base price per mil it would be maybe $10, you still wouldn't want to split at that. It may sound like it's more and it may sound like that's okay, but again, you're still going to be losing money. So using this example here, it is cheap and it's obvious, but just keep that in mind. If we were using a more expensive fragrance, it may seem like, oh, that price per mil is the price I want to split at, but it's not. So what you would want to do is first on add the price of shipping. So I price all of my decants in shipped pricing because I have it set to free on eBay. When I do it on Facebook, it's free shipping. So you want to add the shipping price on top of that first. So USPS has actually changed their rates a little bit. And this really sucks because now they introduce zone pricing, which basically means that depending on where at in the US you're shipping, it's going to be more expensive if you're shipping across the states than it is if you're shipping to the state next to you. It never used to be like that. It used to be the same price wherever based on the weight. So when you're shipping from home, it used to be $2.66 shipped everywhere, but now it is $2.76 shipped from your house. And again, that's going to go up a little bit depending on where at they are, but it'll still fall within this kind of guideline. So just as a general guideline, you'll want to add on $3 for the shipping. So now, of course, you do the math, blah, blah, blah. Now you're at $5.50 for this 5 ml decant. So we're getting there, but still that's not that much. So now you've covered the price of the fragrance, right? And you've also covered the shipping. So we are getting there, but again, we're still not making any money back. So that's where you want to add on the price for your time. So this is where it is completely up to you. You can decide how much you want to charge for your labor or your time, basically. So for me personally, I will tack on an extra anywhere from $3 to sometimes $6, just kind of depending. It's all, honestly, for me, it's all about feeling out the market. I'm trying to be competitive with my prices. So that's really how I kind of gauge how much I tack on. So in this case, just to be competitive with everyone else, I would tack on about $4. So of course you do that, and now you're at $9.50 for the 5 ml decant. I would round it up to $9.99, so $10, and that would be my price for the 5 ml decant. So I walked through this kind of slow. Hopefully that made sense for you guys, but let's go ahead and do the 10 ml decant now. That's going to be probably the more common size when you're working with designers, and I'm going to run through it a little bit quicker. So again, we're going to find the price per mil, do 50 divided by 100 because the bottle is $50 and it's a 100 ml full bottle. And again, of course, you get the 50 cents per mil. I'm going to multiply that by 10 for the 10 ml sample that I'm selling. So now that 5 is the base price per mil. What I'm going to do is add on $3 for shipping. That gets me to $8. And then of course, I'm going to tack on the price for my time. And of course, again, this is up to you. In this example though, I'm going to tack on, let's say $5. So again, that gets you to 13. So now that decant is $13 shipped for that 10 ml, and that's what you would price it at. So hopefully you guys understand the pricing scheme and how this works. If I didn't explain this clearly enough for you or you need more help, of course you can email me info@chaosfragrances.com, or you can go ask in the Facebook group and see if they can help you. But of course, I am open to helping you and explaining it better if you need any more help, but try to cover it the best I could. Just follow that structure, find the price per mil, dividing the price by how many milliliters the bottle is, and then tacking on $3 for shipping, and anywhere from $3 to $6 for your time, and then you get the total price of the decant. And I will say this also, that talking about covering your costs for your supplies, I usually tie that into the cost for my time. So if I'm adding on $5 for my time, that's also kind of covering the fees. I combine them together just to make it easier, so I wouldn't have to do shipping and then my time and then also the supplies. I just kind of combine those two. So again, that's why I give you the option to set kind of what price you want to charge for your labor and also the supplies. But again, I combine those together. All right, guys, now we are ready to start the process of decanting. So this is something I get the most amount of questions on, the actual process of filling the decants. So I'm going to go ahead and go over it with you right now. I'm going to go over 2 different ways that I use personally. These are the best ways, in my opinion, to do it. So yeah, let's go and jump right into it. I'm going to quickly run over what I have sitting here, and we'll get started. So first, we have the fragrance itself. Just for this example, I'm using Light Blue Swimming in La Prairie. It's a nice fragrance, just good example right here. I also have a 5 ml sample bottle, so I'm just using the 5 mils for this example. I've got the Teflon tape or the plumber's tape. We'll need that later on for sealing up the threads. I've also got a funnel. This will be used for the second example, or the second method to use to decant, so that'll be nice. I've got, of course, scissors. This will be used to cut the label later and also to cut the Teflon tape or the plumber's tape. I've got matches, which I'll explain in a second. I've got the syringe, so I'm using a brand new syringe. I'm going to show you how to set it up from scratch to where it'll work on the decant bottle. And I got a small little screwdriver. So this will be used to widen the hole on the syringe in order to get it to fit over the atomizer, which I'll talk about in a second. So now that I went over all of the supplies, let's go and jump right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do, grab my bottle, take off the cap. As you can see, we have the atomizer on there right now. All I'm going to do is just pop that off, and it comes right off. In most cases, that will pop off easily. However, there will be certain fragrances where it'll be a little bit trickier. So what you can do is take a small flathead screwdriver, one that would be about this size. This one's Phillips, which doesn't matter for widening the hole on the syringe, but it will matter if you're trying to pop it off. But take a flathead one about this size and you can get it under there and pry it off. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes they will be a little bit harder to get off, but most of them will pop off easily. So that's just something to be aware of. But now that we have that off, let's go ahead and open up our syringe. So again, this one's brand new in the packaging. Open that up. And the first thing you'll notice when you look at it, get some focus up here, is the hole on this is going to be way too small to fit over the bottle. So we have the atomizer sticking up here, and that's just simply not going to fit. Sorry, you can't see that, but take my word for it, that's not going to fit at all. So this is where the process of actually widening the hole comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this method right now. And I'm going to do my best to get this all on video. If I don't, I apologize, but essentially what I'm doing here is I am lighting the match, or you can use a lighter, and I'm heating it up. Now, you don't want to put the flame, oops, that's not in focus. You don't want to put the flame directly on the metal because then it's going to get that burning. As you can see down towards the bottom of it, it's got that burnt chard. You don't want that because then that'll get on your syringe, and it's just not ideal. So you want to heat it up like that. Then what you do, is you want to work quickly here, is you will then stick that in there, work it around. So what I'm doing here is I'm working it around, and I'm using to widen it up. So because I'm trying to show you this right now, I wasn't quick enough. This didn't get hot enough, so I'm going to do it again. But essentially what you're doing here, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're heating up the screwdriver, and then you're using that hot screwdriver to basically melt the plastic a little bit and kind of work it open a little bit. So I'm going to try this again. Again, I'm trying my best to keep this in focus, and you want to be quick, and you start to work its way open like so. So once you get it opened up a little bit, what I like to do, and as you can see, maybe, it has opened up quite a bit, and that might be enough. But another trick I like to do is take one of these headphone jacks. So this is just some random headphone thing. I'm not even fully sure what it does, but it's got a tapered end. And what I'll do is I'll stick that in there in the hole, and I'll use it to widen it even more. So this is something you can get anywhere, like probably Walmart, Radio Shack, something like that. And while this is still a little bit warm, you use that to get it started, and then you have this, which you can widen it even more. So again, it's going to be hard to see. You'll just have to take my word for it here, but that is opening it up quite a bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and test it on the bottle. So I have my bottle sitting right here. I have the syringe, which should be widened up enough. I'm going to go ahead and take my decant, unscrew the top, open it up. So now we just got the decant. Move some of this stuff out of our way. Set that, I don't know, right here. And let's go ahead and get started. So again, this should be widened up now. Now I'm going to stick that over the top, and you can see now that fits perfectly. So that is sitting on there right now. And then what I'm going to do is push down. So I've just pushed down, it's made a seal, and now all I'm going to do is pull up. And I don't know if you can see, but I just pulled up, and now we have a syringe full of the fragrance. So there we go. I pulled it up past the 3 ml mark. If you can see on there, 3 mils is right here. I pulled it up all the way. When you're doing this, actually doing this, you'll just want to stop at 3 so you can get an exact measurement of if you're going up to 10. You want to make sure you get it exact. Just for this example, I went past it. But you've done that, and now all you do is you just go ahead and, trying to get my fingers out of the freaking way, just push it in. So there you go. As you can see, if we're in focus, I just pushed it in. I give it a few extra clicks, and now we've got a little over 3 mils of fragrance in there. And that's the syringe method, guys. So that's pretty simple. Again, I would say the hardest part is getting the tip widened up enough to where it works. But like I said, once you do it a couple times, again, you can get away with just using the screwdriver, heating it up and just sticking it in and just working your way around. You can get away with just doing that, but again, personally, it makes it a little bit easier once you get it started, and then use something that's tapered like this. Again, use something tapered like this to finish it off. If you can find something like this, and that's going to work great. You can buy one anywhere, like I said, but if not, if all you have is the screwdriver, you can get away with just using this. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but before I knew about this trick, which I actually figured out myself, believe it or not, before I knew about that trick, I used just the screwdriver and it worked great. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you just do some playing around with it, you'll be able to figure it out. If not, of course, you can send me an email, you can post in the Facebook group, and we'll get you sorted out. So that is the syringe method of decanting. That's personally my favorite way to do it. It's really quick, it's really easy, and it's just my favorite way to do it. It keeps you from having to spray continuously, and it just works really well. And also an extra little trick I want to show you guys is sometimes there will be certain atomizers where you can't, for whatever reason, you can't really get a good seal around it. So to give you an example, Swiss Arabian bottles, I can get this to fit around the little atomizer, but for whatever reason, when I push down and I pull up on the plunger, it just can't get a seal and it won't pull up. So that can be really annoying because then you'll have to resort to doing the spray method. But one thing you can do is you can actually put that on there, and you can just pump it like this. So right now I'm not pulling up on the plunger, I'm just pumping it up and down. And as you can see, I'm still filling up the decant. So as you can see, I just filled it up a little bit more. And that works as well. So like I said, on Swiss Arabian bottles, for whatever reason, I can't get a good seal around them where I can pull up the plunger, but I can pump it like this. And that often makes it easier than having to spray it in the decant or do the second method, which I'm about to show you right now. So the second method is pretty self-explanatory, and it's just spraying it directly into the decant. Again, there are going to be certain cases where you can't get a syringe around the atomizer or something like that. So in that case, what I would do, take one of those handy dandy funnels, pop it on the inside of the decant, and then take the fragrance itself and just spray it. So as you can see, sometimes you have to lift up on the funnel itself to get it to actually fall into the decant, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You just do it like that and you're set. Again, I don't like doing it that way. I always use a syringe if possible, but sometimes there are certain cases where you can't do that, and in that case, I use the funnels. So now we're going to go ahead and wrap up this decant. So first thing, I'm going to take my Teflon tape, my plumber's tape, and I'm going to get out a decent amount. It really is up to you. I like to use, if you can see, just about that much. There's no magic length, just enough to wrap around the threads a few times. So again, it's going to be about this much. But feel free to use as much as you want. It would be better to use more rather than less because, again, this stuff is cheap. You can get like a pack of 5 for $5 or $6, and it would be worth it. You'd rather use more of this than have your decant leak. So here's the important part, and I'm going to do my best so you can see what's the best way. So what you want to do when you're wrapping this on, you want to wrap it clockwise. So as you can see, I'm wrapping it clockwise. What I like to do is just kind of let it go down on the bottle a little bit, as you can see there, like so. And then you have it like this. And then one thing you can do is just tuck it back up underneath. That makes it look all clean. And now all you do is you put the cap on and you screw it down, as you can see there. Never over tighten these, because if you go too tight, you will strip the threads out because this plastic is kind of thin. These come from China. You get them in bulk, so you have to be careful you don't tighten it too much. But what's nice about using the Teflon tape is it gives it the threads a little bit more to bite onto, and it creates more of a seal. So that's why I prefer to use more rather than less when it comes to the Teflon tape. And there we go. We have now prepared our decant. And again, the reason why you want to wrap on the Teflon tape clockwise is because you're threading on the top clockwise, and if you did it the opposite way, the Teflon tape would just unwind when you're threading it on, and that's not good. You want it to go with the thread, so when you're screwing it on, it wraps the Teflon tape around more and it keeps it from unwinding. So we have our decant prepared. Now I'm going to go to my label maker. I'm going to clear that out, and then once you have the name of the fragrance, go ahead and hit print. And as you can see, comes out. Cut that off, and you're good to go. So these do print with extra on the end. So all you do is you cut off that extra, as like that. And what's nice about these are really easy to peel off. You simply peel it in half like this, or bend it in half, and then one side peels off, and then you go around to the other side, kind of peel it back, and the other side peels off, and now you got the sticky side showing. And then all you do is you just slap the label on, and there you go. Now you have your freshly prepared decant. So guys, hopefully that helps you out. That is how you actually decant the fragrance. Again, that's the two methods I use, either the syringe, which I use about 99% of the time, and when there's those stubborn bottles that I can't get a syringe on, or if the top doesn't pop off at all, then I'll have to use the spray method. Both work. The syringe is preferred. But really what it comes down to is doing whatever works best for you. As long as you're getting the fragrance into the bottle and shipped off to whoever bought it, you're doing good.